Today we're working on a 1997 Toyota Camry. We have two lights on. We're gonna take a look at the check engine light and ABS light. So for now, let's do the ABS. Now because of the age of this vehicle, it doesn't have an ABS module that you can communicate with through the OBD2 with our scan tool. So what Toyota had back then is this diagnostic port underneath the hood on the passenger side. And you open it up, and you see over here, let me pull it out, a bunch of codes. And you want to jump TC, which is right there, to E1, which is right there. So that'll look like on the connector is TC, E1. You want to jump those together. Actually, first you want to take this WA, WB out. Make sure your ignition switch is turned off. Then go ahead and jump TC to E1. So give it a second and it'll start flashing. 1, 2, 3. 1. So there's 31. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So that's 32. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, so 33. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looked like we had a 31, 32, 33, 34. Now let's look that up and see what those codes are for. So it's interesting that we got code 31 through 34. And that's all the wheel speed sensors. The right front, right rear, left rear are all coming up at the same time. So that's a little suspicious. I doubt all 4 wheel speed sensors are bad. This is the wiring diagram here. Each wheel speed sensor has its own set of wires to the traction control ABS control unit. So the computer is on the passenger side and it's not the easiest to get to. You probably can't even see under there without a flashlight, but it's pretty buried. If we have to come back here and do it later, we will, but not my first move. So the easiest wheel speed sensor to get to is one of these rear. It doesn't matter if it's the passenger or the driver's side rear. The fronts, you have to take the wheel well out and all that, those plastics, and this is just easy. So to pop this back seat up, and then this little side trim here needs to come out. You just pull on the front, pull up, it'll unclip, and then it'll just slide out of the way. And then this side piece pulls forward, moves out of the way. So that's the connector. So I'm just gonna back probe here with my scope, spin that wheel, and see if we get some kind of waveform. So here I have my scope hooked up. I'm gonna go ahead and give the wheel a good spin, and then you'll see the waveform. You can see it looks pretty good. I don't see anything crazy, any teeth missing or anything. You see on this side of the screen, I wouldn't worry about that. I think that's just the way the scope is refreshing on the screen. The waveform looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's missing teeth or anything's chewed up. It's not a distorted signal. It's a pretty clean sine wave. So I'm happy with that. I'm gonna go to the other side. So this is the left rear. I'm gonna go to the right rear. That's the next easiest one to get, and see if it also has a good signal. If so, then I would say that even though the ABS code is for wheel speed sensors, at least this left one in the rear is working. So let's see if the right rear is working. Okay, now it's all set up. I'm gonna spin the tire and see what signal we get. And we're getting no signal. The tire's spinning. I tried this a couple times to see if my settings or connections were right, and we have no signal coming out of the right rear. Interesting. So what's the next move? We have codes for all 4 wheel speed sensors. One seems to be working at this moment, giving us a good signal. The other's producing nothing. Now I didn't check the 2 front because those are a little more involved to get to, but at least in the back we have a good one and a bad one. At this moment, see, it could be intermittent that caused this code. So I changed my mind. If I'm gonna have to come to the computer anyway to check signal integrity up to the ECU, then I might as well just put forth the effort to gain access to it. It takes about the same amount of work to get to this computer as it would to pull the front wheel covers off. To gain better access, pull the glove box apart. You have a 10 mil here, 10 mil over there, which was missing, and then inside you have these Phillips head that come out as well. So let's get to it. When you pull out the glove box, there's a airbag connector right here, so don't tug on it too much or let it fall, and you just pop this here, pop this here. You don't have to disconnect it. This just holds it in place. So that connector here, this is just a holder. So pull this, pull that, and you keep this connected. Now with the glove box out, we got plenty of room. This is the ABS module here, and then this is the main computer there. So now we just need to find what wires we need to back probe into this connector. So each of these sensors has an ohm reading. So the front, left or right, should be around 0.6K or 600 ohms to 2.5K. So anywhere in between there, you're okay by just getting an ohm reading. Same with the rear, 1.2K to 2.3K for the rear. So now that I've still, I have access to the pins on the ABS module, what I can do is just front probe. Of course, I have probes especially made for front probing. Let me show you on here. Go back to the wiring diagram. Right here for the front. Let me see. Okay, so right here for the front. So I just need pin 19 and pin 20. If I probe that pin and that pin, that in effect will give me circuit integrity plus the ohm reading of the sensor at the same time. So I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. I just need to do simple ohm readings to see if the sensors are good. I could still use the scope, that's not a bad idea, but effectively if I ohm this out, then I know that the circuit is intact. I don't have any opens or breaks. Okay, so this is the front right. Plug it in. Okay, so that's what I'm reading front right. 1.6K or 1.7 if you round up. So according to the ohm measurements that it should be, we're right in the middle. We're perfect, okay? So let's move on to the next one. So now we're doing the front left. Look in my meter. And again, 1.65, very close to the other one. So we're right in the ballpark. Let's check the back. So this is the left rear that was giving us a good signal on the scope. And again, 1.65. So right where we need to be. And this is our last one, the right side of the rear that we were not getting a signal from. And we're at 5.96 ohms, not kilo ohms, but just 6 ohms. So that one, by doing our ohm reading, is no good. So out of all the wheel speed sensors, only one, the right rear, is no good. But we have codes for all of them. So what's happening? So now that we confirmed our ohm readings, I'm gonna go ahead, take it for a test drive. I still have those front probes hooked up to the harness side. While I'm driving, I'm just gonna make sure that our scope signal agrees with the ohm reading. So we should get 3 signals and 1 dead based on what we got from our ohm reading. So let's see if that's the case. This is the best I could set it up, but this is the right front. So I'm gonna take off and you should watch it produce a signal. As I speed up, the signal should increase. As I slow down, so that looks like a pretty good signal. Okay, this is that last one that the ohms were both bad and it wasn't giving us a signal, just turning the wheel. Let's see if we get something driving. And it's pretty dead. We're going about 20 right now. It's not giving us any kind of signal. So what does the data tell us? In our ohm readings, we get 3 good sensors, my thumb's right there. 3 good sensors, 1 bad sensor. When we test drive it, look for a signal on an oscilloscope. Again, we see 3 good sensors, 1 bad sensor. Okay, cleared the codes, took it for a test drive. Interesting, during the test drive, when I came to a stop, the ABS activated on me. Did that a few times until the code finally set, and then it stopped, of course, because the ABS was deactivated. So let's get the codes. I already went under the hood, did what I needed there. So turn the key on. You should see the ABS flash. So a 3 and a 3. And a 3. So it looks like that's the only code left is 33. So let's look up what 33 is. So there it is. You can see DTC number 33 is for that right rear wheel speed sensor. That's where we weren't getting any signal. And we saw 6 ohms. So definitely bad. The others were good that we checked. So I'm going to let the customer know they need that speed sensor replaced to get their ABS up and running again. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.